So recently, I've been coming on here on YouTube and basically uploading some things I call the new Sonic fan fiction videos. Now I do have to renumber one of them probably later on because of the fact I had to take one down because one of the authors didn't like the fact that like I was saying though, sorry about that, somebody's car alarm went off. But anyway, I had to take down one of them because the author wasn't too happy and thrilled that I put it up there. And I didn't mean any disrespect to that either, because I wanted people to see what he was able to write and what he brought to the table. But I took it down, no disrespect, and we'll see over time if maybe I'll put it back up, because I think I still have it saved somewhere. If not, I could just redo it again and maybe put it someplace else, but just not on YouTube. But we'll see. I may or may not do that, but we'll see. I'm not going to say who the author is because, they know who they are. Anyway, I wanted to come on here because I did do a few videos, like that. And I know some people's responses are like, whoa, what the heck? What's going on here? Oh, this is not right. Let me explain. Let me explain why that is, why those reactions are. Most of these stories involve tales. Sometimes they involve not tales and somebody else, but still. One of them involved tales. The other one involved Queen Alina and Queen Alicia. Queen Alina from Sonic Underground, Queen Alicia from the Archie Sonic books, Sally's mom. And then another one, basically, was involving Tails and Sonic's mom, and then another one involved Tails and Bunnie. So I have to, like I said, redo those and everything down the line. But here's the thing. A lot of people looked at these and they were like, that doesn't seem right, or why would they do that? That's not tasteful and everything. Like I was saying, let me explain. You see, I can understand that if you were using real life people, yeah, a lot of the scenarios you see here would not be appropriate, they would not be right, they would basically be very, very sickening. No doubt about that. However, when it comes to these Sonic fanfics, the ones that I've put up, these more adult, mature fanfics, the difference is these characters are fictional. And with fiction, you can age a character up at any time. You could put it in an alternate universe and the character could be at the appropriate age. Or you could just tell a story, say it's been years later, this has happened, that's happened, and this character is this age now. He or she is at the right age. I mean, there's fan art that does the same stuff, with the likes of Vanilla's Dollar Cream. They do the same thing with her. They age her up. They do the same with, Tails is involved in a lot of these stories. But here's the thing though. It's all fiction. Like I said, it's all not real. It's just imagination. It's like what if scenarios. And true, maybe in the eyes of a lot of folks it's not right, especially some of the synopsis when it comes to these stories. It's not right. It doesn't seem like it should be written or anything. But again, these are all fictional stories. And the way it's being presented, believe it or not, is it's either a story of, let's put it this way, what's the word I'm looking for? Whether or not it's a situation that's kind of agreed upon to happen with no issues, or it's something that mainly is just a one-time deal, for certain reasons, or maybe it's a hint of something different. What makes these stories interesting is the fact that that, as well as I do, that the writers behind them acknowledge, and even sometimes before the story begins, acknowledges that, they may not be behind this, but, they are being requested, if not commissioned, to write these stories. And they do the best they can. They may not be a fan of certain scenarios, but they're doing the best they can. And sometimes, like I said, the synopsis of the stories are, it's consensual. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. It's consensual. Like with Tails and Bernadette in the story Miles and the MILFs, if you will. It's a consensual agreement. You know, Jules, Sonic's dad, in the story, is still roboticized. This takes place, it seems like it takes place years later. So Jules consensually asks and Tails consensually agrees to give Bernadette, Jules' wife, Sonic's mom, the satisfaction, if you catch my drift, if you know what I'm saying, that Jules currently can't. The same with the next chapter, because there's only 2 chapters made of it with Vanilla. The only difference, though, is Vanilla, even though it's a consensual agreement to have satisfaction, unfortunately takes it a step further in Tails' mind, but she reassures him that don't worry, you won't have to deal with the responsibility. I've raised my daughter on my own, I can do it again. If you see what I'm saying. Then you have Bunnie in one of the recent stories I put up, and it's a consensual agreement. And the reason being is because Bunnie has always been in the mood, except Antoine doesn't want, to give her the satisfaction. So she's pretty much been visualizing that the only other canine that she knows of that can give her that satisfaction is Tails. And the difference with this story, like I mentioned earlier, is it takes place years later to where Tails, is at that appropriate age to where, hey, if a girl wants to do it with him, if you see what I'm saying, if you get what I'm saying, if a girl wants to do it with him, then, there's not a problem. He's at the right age. And with Bunnie, she just wants it to be consensual. That's it. And then you have another one with Julie Sue. It's a consensual agreement. Because similar to Bunnie, Knuckles isn't, giving her satisfaction like he used to, so now she's getting in that mood and she wants satisfaction. Storyline is Tails is of age now. He's still an inventor, repairer. And she pretty much is like, well, if, Big Red won't give it to me, then Mr. Two-Tail will. And it's a consensual agreement that for the week he's there, when Knuckles is not around, they will, get it on. And I understand. People feel like even if it's fan fiction, it's not right. And that's true. Because they even have Tails agree that it's wrong for this to happen. But in both separate stories, Bunnie and Julie Sue reassure him that don't worry. Our guys won't know what's going on. They won't find out whatsoever. And that's a good point to make, especially if it's consensual. Especially if it's a consensual agreement. And it's only for a one-time or a week-long deal. That's fine. But again, I understand what people feel it might be wrong. And like I said, they have Tails kind of address that. They really do. But there is one question I have, though. There is one question I do have. Consensual or not? Consensual or not? And I'm glad the authors behind these stories sometimes do give resolution to this question, but still. How is it that if you're Tails, even for one time, or when it comes to Bunnie, in one of these stories, or if you're Tails and it's a week's long worth, 5 days, 7 days a week, or 7 days straight, if you will, of action, if you know what I'm saying. How is it not possible that you don't end up doing to them what he did to Vanilla in chapter 2 of Miles and the MILFs? How is that not possible? I'm just saying. And even speaking of that, they basically play it up to where Bernadette is already, pretty much, on the verge of having another sibling for Sonic. And all they really need is like Tails to help further on the process, if you know what I'm saying. How is it not possible that his essence, if you will, doesn't overlap Jules' essence inside of Bernadette, and instead of birthing another hedgehog, she birthed a fox? That's the color of Sonic. I'm just saying. You know, the same with Bunnie, and even though we don't see it, or even read multiple continuing chapters of it, the same with Julie Sue. How is that not possible? Now, yes, they do stories to where, Tails does, kind of protect himself, if you see what I'm saying. So that's a good thing. That is a good thing. But still, it makes you wonder on all these other occasions, how is that not possible? I mean, one of the stories that they do with Tails, basically, is something about him and the wives of the planet. Mainly the characters we know of. And it takes place in the future. He's older, Well, semi-older. He's kind of like in between. And thankfully, they do have his character address the possibility of what he's done, the result of what he's done. But here's what I'm trying to get at. But is that still an excuse for the fact that all the other stories follow differently? I mean, they follow similarly, they follow differently, but they, again, like I said, some authors, when they write Tales in these situations, they write it to where, he does protect himself, but then sometimes they write it to where, okay, he did it raw, but there's no consequence. It's weird. It's just a weird directive to go in. I mean, at least let him know that, hey, he didn't just give the girl satisfaction raw and nothing's going to come of it. So it makes you wonder. It's like, how is that not possible? I mean, again, I understand, as I've mentioned, it is fiction. So anything's possible in fiction. I get that. But still, it makes you curious. Makes you really curious about that. But anyway, to get back on topic, this is why you see these kind of stories, and that's why I share them. I share them because, one, I know the fanfics. I know it. I know the fictional, I know the not real, and that in fiction you can do just about anything. You can. You can do just about anything in fiction and not worry about the consequences. It's not an official comic. It's not an official graphic novel. It's not an official one-time, release in a comic or graphic novel form. It's a fan just being creative and seeing what would happen on the more adult side of things, if you catch my drift. But, that is why I put them up there, because I'm not doing it to, make people sick or anything. I'm just sharing stories from other fans that are out there that like to take the characters to another level. If you see what I'm saying, they like to take them to another level, and it makes you speculate. It makes you speculate that it makes you speculate from this fan fiction's continuity. It makes you speculate and wonder how, certain scenarios after they happen don't result in something, afterwards. So, yeah, they're just harmless fun. I get the not for everybody. That's why I sometimes say, hey, this is not going to be for everybody. But they are harmless fun. And that's all I really want to say. I know this may have not made sense doing this audio video, but I just wanted to bring that out, give you my thoughts, and wonder what yours are. How do you feel about them? Let me know down below in the comments and in the live chat during premiere, where Super Chats, Super Stickers will be opened and would be appreciated, along with Super Thanks afterwards. Check me out at my podcast at BW Rose's Discussions, I should say. Easy for me to say right now. BW Rose's Discussions on all your favorite podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check me out at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 to support me there. Cash App at BWRoses98. Also, check me out at Patreon.com/BWRoses. Check me out at my Teespring store or to get merchandise there. And also check me out at Vimo, I should say, at BW Roses for content you can't get it here on YouTube due to copyright. But again, guys, just wanted to come on here and let you know why you see these kind of stories popping up, and that they're just harmless fun. And I know it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but you got to remember, the fictional and anything is possible